Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here, and it's happened again. A 20-year-old bodybuilder named Jodi Vance has died at the Arnold Classic, and this news is making its rounds around the internet, yet I find it disappointing that Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's, the person who runs the Arnold Classic, hasn't said anything yet. We all remember how vocal he was about the bubble gut issues in bodybuilding several years ago. So why is he not addressing bodybuilders who are dying younger by the year? Quite disappointing. So I would like to start this video by expressing my condolences to the family and friends of Jodi Vance. Greg Doucette, however, has made a video that is now going viral, and it's a great thing that he has done. We need more big voices like Greg's and important people like Arnold and others in the sport addressing this very real and threatening issue as it keeps coming up every single year. I recently wrote a preprint paper that is currently online and available to read. You can see it in the link below. And it demonstrates that bodybuilders have been dying earlier, living shorter lifespans since the introduction of performance-enhancing drugs in the sport of bodybuilding. I posted this video a couple of weeks ago, got some good views, and my Instagram post on this topic actually went viral with 400,000 views and 4,000 comments. Not only that, my friend and cardiologist Marco Vecchiato of Italy also released a study last year titled Mortality Risk in Bodybuilding, a call for action to promote safe sport participation, which literally calls for action to be taken to regulate these dangerous practices in the sport of bodybuilding. I recently spoke to Marco, and we actually discussed his findings that show that more than any other sport out there, bodybuilding shows the highest rate of sudden death, mostly due to cardiac disease and kidney failure. Now, as Greg points out in his recent video, illegal performance-enhancing drug use has reached a point where it is glorified and celebrated online, with young influencers encouraging unsupervised use of performance-enhancing drugs from the black market and portraying unrealistic physiques that can only be acquired through drug abuse. And this information is being fed to the minds of many young athletes, which is extremely dangerous to their health and to their well-being. I mean, looking at Jodi Vance's case, the coach didn't even know that she was taking performance-enhancing drugs. And this is her coach who we are talking about.
Jodi used two extremely hazardous substances to improve her physique without my knowledge, my approval, without family's knowledge, their approval.
If bodybuilders, and this is her coach we're talking about, and if bodybuilders are subjecting themselves to these practices in an unsupervised manner, we are only going to keep seeing young athletes die younger by the year. Make no mistake about it. This is just another form of drug abuse. Now, I don't necessarily want to sound like Mr. Mackey from South Park.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. Okay.
But the point is, we are seeing more and more of the detrimental effects of unsupervised drug abuse, and it is important not only to talk about this issue, but to actually address it. In a recent seminar, Robbie Robinson states how back in the golden era at least, performance-enhancing drugs were of pharmaceutical grade, and at least some bodybuilders back then took them under doctor's supervision and for a limited time only pre-competition.
I used antibody steroids back in the 70s, yeah? And in the process of doing that, we was working with a doctor that would give us these antibody steroids. We only take antibody steroids every 2 weeks. See, we didn't take the steroids like the guys are taking them today. No, we had 25 guys die, 24. Why? It don't make sense. To me, it shouldn't be like that. You got 20, 30 guys on stage, but how many can pole? How many can compete? How many can place? 5. So those guys will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get up there on that stage and not even place. To me, it don't make sense. I don't, no disrespect to anybody.
And I have to agree with Robbie, things are now out of control. But there is no point just talking about this issue. What solutions are possible to integrate now? Well, drug testing for starters. And two, to really discuss this issue openly. It's impossible to stop drug use. The genie is out of the bottle. But I agree with Greg in that there should be new categories, for example, with lower weight classes, and completely natural, ideally. But then again, many will say, well, there are already drug-tested natural shows. Or perhaps the non-natural shows should start drug testing anyway. Another point of view could be, and should be, to discuss regulation of drug use. Whether it should be integrated into the sport so that it can be supervised, or to ban it completely from the sport. The point is, this conversation needs to be had. This point needs to be addressed full stop. People keep ignoring the elephant in the room, and people keep ignoring that particular conversation, and as long as we keep ignoring the elephant in the room, more athletes will die and die younger. The only thing that influencers like myself and Greg Doucette can do is to continue to bring this conversation into the mainstream. My personal efforts are to continue studying this particular topic. I'm in the process of writing several publications looking into this research topic and specifically at the causes of death in bodybuilding. Because if this is brought forward to the medical community, then this can be translated to the general public as a major cause of concern. If enough noise is made, then this could lead regulatory bodies in sport and organizers of the sport of bodybuilding too to say enough is enough and demand drug regulation in bodybuilding. Whether it is banned or not, I don't know. That is always a possibility, and I hope that is where my efforts can lead to. That's it for me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, are Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.